construction noise. Let's go ahead and
recording in progress.
Let's go ahead and call the March 14th Parcel Map Review Committee meeting to order. Madam Secretary, is there a quorum?
Rob Pierce.
Present.
James English.
Present.
Wayne Handrock.
Present.
Christopher Bronzik.
Present.
Dale Way.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Ms. Gustafson, would you like to read the ethics law?
Sure thing. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Members are reminded that if with respect to any matter or any person coming before the committee today, number one, you received a gift or loan. Number two, you have a pecuniary interest. Number three, you have a commitment in a private capacity, such as a family, employment, business, or similar relationship. Or number four, if you've provided representation or counseling before an agency to a person or entity for compensation within the last year on a matter being considered, please remember to disclose that gift, loan, interest, commitment, or prior representation at the time the matter is being considered. And further, please remember that you must abstain from deliberation or voting on the matter if it's clear that the gift, loan, interest, commitment, or prior representation would materially affect the independence of judgment of a reasonable person. Committee members are also reminded that under your bylaws, if you've had any contact outside this meeting with any persons interested in a matter coming before the committee today, you should disclose the nature of that contact at this meeting. Thank you. And I'm also going to go ahead and read, let me get my agenda up, the instructions for providing public comments. All right, so this meeting is being held solely via Zoom webinar. To participate via Zoom, there is a link on the first page of the agenda. Alternatively, you can join by typing zoom.us into the computer browser, clicking join a meeting on the Zoom website, and entering meeting ID number 831-3388-3067. Alternatively, you can join by telephone only by dialing 1-669-900-9128 and enter meeting ID 831-3388-3067 and pressing pound. For those of you joining us today, if you would like to provide public comments, sorry, I lost my place here. You can do so during the public comment periods by utilizing the raise hand feature. If you'd like to provide public comment via telephone only, you can press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to mute or unmute. Thank you.
Thank you. The appeal procedure. So most decisions rendered by the Parcel Map Review Committee are appealable to the Board of County Commissioners. If you disagree with the decision of the Parcel Map Review Committee and you want to appeal its action, you may do so in writing within 10 calendar days from the date that the decision being appealed is reduced to writing, filed with the Secretary of the Parcel Map Review Committee, and mailed to the original applicant in the proceeding being appealed, in accordance with Washoe County Code. Please call planning staff immediately at 328-3600 for information on the appeal procedure and the application fee. Moving to agenda item 4, Madam Secretary, do we have any public comment?
If anyone would like to make public comment via Zoom, please raise your hand. There are no hands raised for public comment.
Thank you. Moving to agenda item 5. This is for the approval of today's March 14th, 2024 agenda. Members of the committee, do we have any edits to suggest? If not, is there a motion to be made?
This is Rob. I move to accept as written.
Dale Way, second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, please say nay. Looks like that passed unanimously. Moving forward to agenda item 6. This is for the approval of the February 8th, 2024 draft minutes. Has everybody had a chance to review those, and were any edits suggested? Seeing none, I'd welcome a motion.
This is Rob. I move that we accept the draft minutes from February 8 as written.
Wayne Handrak, second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, please say nay. Looks like that passed unanimously. So we're going to move forward to item 7, public hearing items. The first one we're looking at is agenda item 7A. This is for tentative parcel map case number WTPM 23-0012. Presenting this item is planner Katie Stark.
Good afternoon. Okay, does the presentation look good from your end?
Yes, Katie, you're good.
Thanks. Okay. Katie Stark, Washoe County Planning. The case before you is parcel map WTPM 23-0012. I'm going to apologize before I pronounce this name. I'm going with Fung Phai Phadhana. The request is to divide a 2.01 acre parcel into 3 parcels. Each resulting parcel would be 29,175 square feet. Here's an image showing the proposed division of the parcel. The property is located in the Sun Valley Planning Area inside the Truckee Meadow Services area. The regulatory zone is medium density suburban, MDS. The maximum lot potential for the property is 6, and the number of lots on the parcel map is 3. Minimum lot size requirement is 12,000 square feet, and the minimum lot size on the parcel map is 29,175 square feet. The minimum lot width requirement is 80 feet, and the minimum lot width on the parcel map is 97.35 feet. On the Sun Valley development suitability map, parcel was shown as most suitable for development, and it is located in the Sun Valley hydrographic basin. The parcel is currently undeveloped, and the setbacks for MDS are 20 feet from front and rear property lines and 8 feet from side property lines. There are a fair amount of FEMA flood hazard zones in the parcel. We'll take a look at them in just a moment. Washoe County Code Section 110.416.70A. It says that every new encroachment, including fill, new construction, substantial improvement, and other development is prohibited in a designated floodway. So in brief, no construction in the floodway. So here's an image of the parcel as it currently exists. And you can see that area running through the middle with the diagonal red and turquoise lines. That is the regulatory floodway. So nothing can be built in that floodway. However, the teal or blue color that you see to the east and west of that floodway is a flood zone, and with appropriate measures, building can occur in the flood zone. The applicant did work closely with engineering over the past couple of months, some meetings back and forth and conversations, and engineering has put a couple of conditions that I wanted to call out to to the conditions of approval, which is included in Exhibit A. The first is condition 2C, a note on the final map indicating that structures within the FEMA flood zone, again, this would be that blue area, must comply with the Washoe County Development Code Article 416. The next is condition 2D. Engineering is requiring that the applicant provide a site plan exhibit which shows proposed buildable areas and showing the area where nothing can be constructed. The applicant has already provided this site plan exhibit, and we'll look at that next. It is also included with the staff report as Exhibit D. And then condition 2F was another engineering requirement to provide a hydraulic analysis of the floodplain, showing that import of fill material in the structures would not cause a rise in flood elevation levels. So the applicant has already provided this hydraulic analysis as well, and it is included as Exhibit E to the staff report. So here is an image showing, again, the parcel. This is that the site plan analysis that the applicant provided. So you can see the floodway running through the middle again, and then the green areas on each proposed parcel are the building envelopes. So those areas take into account setbacks for MDS. All the setbacks would be met. Engineering also looked at grading requirements with the applicant ahead of time. So you can see those would be areas where the applicant or a purchaser of the property in the future could put a home. So a final concern that I had from the planning side was parking locations. I'm going to, if you think back to the image we just looked at, the buildable area is fairly small on each proposed parcel. However, the property is in the Sun Valley planning area, and if a manufactured home is placed on each of those parcels, there is a modifier that allows the off-street parking to not be located in an enclosed garage or carport. So there's plenty of space on each of those proposed parcels for parking. There are a couple of Sun Valley Area Plan modifiers in Article 218 that are pertinent. The first requires that residential development of 1 unit or more per acre be served by community water and sewer. The second requires that the creation of additional parcels occurs in areas that are served by a recognized water purveyor. All proposed parcels will be served by municipal and water and sewer through Sun Valley General Improvement District. And there is a condition of approval from water rights requiring a will serve letter. In the interest of time, I'm not going to run through all of this. It is included in the staff report, but staff did find the project in compliance or conformance with the newest version of our master plan, the Envision Washoe 2040 master plan. The application was reviewed by multiple agencies. Conditions provided by those agencies are included in Exhibit A, the conditions of approval. And staff is recommending approval and is available for questions.
Thank you, Katie.
You're welcome.
Do we have an applicant or representative that would like to make a presentation or approach the board?
I do have one of the applicant representatives, Mark Gukin. If you could please state your first and last name for the record.
My name's Mark Kuka with Terraface Engineering.
Is there anything you would like to let the committee know or present?
Yeah, I don't have any formal presentation, but I'm certainly available to answer questions.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Um, does anyone on the committee have any questions for the applicant or planning staff? Seeing none, I don't have any questions myself. Let's open it up to public comment. Do we have any members of the public that would like to speak specific to this item?
There are no hands raised for public comment.
Thank you. We'll close the public comment portion. Since there was no comments to planning staff or the applicant's representative, I'd welcome a motion.
James English, I move to approve it.
Do I have a second?
Dale Way, second.
Jen Gustafson for the record. James, are you moving to approve, subject to the conditions of approval included in Exhibit A to the staff report?
Yes.
Okay. The person who seconded it, do you second the amendment that James just provided?
Yes.
Thank you.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, please say nay. Hearing none, this passes unanimously. Moving forward to agenda item 7B. This is for tentative parcel map case number WTPM 23-0015 for Pleasant Valley Lift Station. And presenting this item is planning staff Tim Evans.
Thank you. All right, let me share my screen real quick.
Before Tim gets started, I just wanted to mention I was contacted about this project from the engineering department, wondering about the appropriateness of doing a parcel map waiver on it. And I gave my opinion on that, and that's my only contact with this so far.
Okay. Tim Evans, planner. So the case before you today is tentative parcel map, case number WTPM 23-0015 for Pleasant Valley Lift Station. So to give some background on the parcel, it's a 5-acre parcel and it is developed with a single-family dwelling. The surrounding parcels are similarly developed with single-family dwellings and accessory structures, and it's in the South Valley's planning area. And this property is zoned medium-density rural, medium-density suburban, and low-density suburban. So the request before you is for a tentative parcel map waiver dividing the 5-acre parcel into 2 parcels of 4.99 acres and 0.01 acres, or 480 square feet. That 480 square foot parcel is the purpose for it is for public utilities to serve a previously approved subdivision known as the Pleasant Valley subdivision, and it will be dedicated to Washoe County for the purpose of operating that sewer lift station. So as you can see there on the screen, there is the 480 square foot parcel that's highlighted in yellow up towards the top left corner of the screen. So to give some background on the evaluation of this parcel, so as mentioned earlier, it is zoned MDR, MDS, and LDS. The proposed 480 square foot parcel will be located entirely within that MDS zoning. And now one thing to note is that the minimum requirements for the MDS regulatory zone is that it has to be 12,000 square feet in size and 80 feet in width for a parcel. However, due to this proposed parcel being for a public agency or being dedicated to a public agency, which would be Washoe County, there is a provision within Washoe County Code pursuant to Washoe County Code Section 110.404.10 for the reduction in size of a parcel, which states a parcel may be created that is less than the minimum requirements of the zoning if the proposed parcel is being created for a public agency. So this parcel is for the sewer lift station and will be dedicated to and operated by Washoe County, and it meets those requirements. Therefore, the minimum size requirements of 12,000 square feet in size and 80 feet in width can be reduced down to being what's proposed, which is 480 square feet in size and 24 feet in width for this specific parcel. So the project was sent out to 17 agencies for review, and 4 agencies provided conditions, which are included as Exhibit A or in Exhibit A of the staff report. And so we did receive public comments in relation to this project. As of this morning, we received 11 comments from members of the public, and the concerns are addressed on pages 10 and 11 of the staff report. And those concerns that commonly came up were, and I'll go through these. I apologize for the busyness of the slide. But the first one is, why is Mr. Fry proposing and applying for a lift station for 5-acre parcels rather than having wells and septic tanks? And staff's response is that the lift station is part of the Pleasant Valley Ranch subdivision, which was previously approved. And to give some more additional background on that, so the reason why Harry Fry, the applicant, is proposing to take this path instead of sticking with the septic systems that were previously discussed and talked about with the original subdivision approval for Pleasant Valley Ranch subdivision, is after having discussions, he had discussions with engineering after approval. It was decided and recommended that this would be a better path for this subdivision as opposed to having the septic systems. So this is why he's going through with this parcel map waiver and has decided to do this. And so the second question that has commonly come up is, why is Washoe County building this lift station and who is paying for it? So staff response is, the lift station is required to provide municipal sanitary sewer service to the Pleasant Valley Ranch subdivision, and the development of the cost of building this lift station will be on the developer himself, which is Harry Fry. The third question that's come up is, will any other subdivisions in the area hook up to the lift station? And I can't stress this part enough, is that it is just specifically for the Pleasant Valley Ranch subdivision. It is not to serve any additional subdivisions or anything like that, or any other subdivisions. It's specifically just this previous subdivision that was approved. And so the fourth question that has come up is, how will sewer water be moved, and where will it be connected to? The sewer flows will utilize laterals from each property that flow into a large sewer main connected to manholes that flow in the lift station. Sewer flows will be pumped to a manhole at a high elevation to allow the sewer to flow to the county's water reclamation facility. And then the fifth question that has come up commonly is, why were homeowners adjacent to this property not notified to this lift station meeting? So in relation to that, due to this not being a subsequent or second parcel map per Washoe County Code, it's not required to notice for this parcel map. This is a parcel map waiver, not a regular parcel map. So, and that is the reason why this was not noticed as other parcel maps. And the very last question that has commonly come up is the plan to increase the number of parcels so that in the future, Mr. Fry will be able to file for a parcel map for rezoning. The applicant has informed staff that there is no intent to further subdivide. We made that perfectly clear with Harry Fry as well as his engineer, that there's no intention to do anything like that, to try and rezone the property or do any further subdivisions. And additionally, as stated on the staff comment on the screen, to rezone a property, a master plan amendment or regulatory zone amendment is the path forward, not a parcel map. So there's no zoning being changed to the parcel map. That's not a possibility with something like that. All right, and so staff is able to make all 8 required findings for this parcel map waiver as detailed on pages 11 and 12 in the staff report. And staff recommends approval of the tentative parcel map case number WTPM 23-0015 and provides the motion on the screen and in the staff report. And I am available for any questions.
Thank you. Is there a applicant or applicant representative who would like to speak?
Let's see, I see two hands raised. I'm gonna lower them. Just please raise your hand only right now if you're part of the applicant or the applicant representative. Okay, no hands raised, so no applicant representatives online with us.
Before we open to public comment, was there anybody from the board, the committee that would like to ask questions of staff?
Yeah, this is Rob. I've got a question. So Tim, if I understood you correctly, you said that this lift station is only designed for the subdivision as it is approved right now. What are the size of the lots that the subdivision is approved for?
So the previous subdivision, as far as I recall, they were in the neighborhood of about 5 acre parcels, from what I recall.
5 acre parcels. So if down the, well, so then it would technically be almost impossible for the applicant to come back and say, I want smaller lots, go through all that process, because this lift station would not be able to hold that capacity. Is that a correct statement?
Correct.
Okay. And when was that approval done for that subdivision?
That approval was done 3 years ago.
Okay. All right, no further questions. Thank you.
I've got a question.
Sure.
Tim, so the newly created parcel is adjacent to a fairly large private and public utility easement and access easement. And this is right adjacent to that, but this does not encroach on the easement at all?
No. No. Yeah, that was one of the things, just to give some background on that. Initially, when we first received this application, it was located within those easements, and it ended up, we had to have some revisions done so it could be moved outside those easements.
Okay. That's the only question I had.
I have I have one more, if that's okay, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Rob again, on the easement to access the property to the south of this property, is there any consideration being made to make sure that the road will be adequate for future development, and so that the applicant, or so that the person that lives below them can access their property without going through a rutty road and all of that?
Yeah, so as far as I know, the prior subdivision took all of that into account. Making sure that the road widths and things like that is maintained and up to par with what it needs to be. But beyond that, for this specific parcel map waiver, everything was sent to engineering and everybody took a look at everything and everything. We didn't receive any comments in relation to recommending denial for access or anything like that. So
Okay. There was one public comment about not being able to get to this person's property, and that's why I brought it up. So
Sure.
Thank you for clarification.
Absolutely.
Is there any other questions from any? Seeing none, let's open this up to public comment.
Okay, first I have Sonia. Please unmute and state your first and last name for the record.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, the floor is yours.
Thank you. My name is Sonia Cuff, and I live in very close vicinity to the property being discussed. And along with myself being on the call, we have a number of other neighbors on the call. So we're just kind of concerned about this overall proposal and then the parcels themselves for the future estate. But so if you could help us understand, why is the lift station a better path forward than the septic tanks that was commented on?
Okay, your answers won't be answered, or questions won't be answered at this time, but the board can address it after.
Okay.
Is that all?
That's the question that I had. I know there's some others that have questions.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for your time. Okay, next I have Beth Schuler. If you would please unmute and state your first and last name for the record.
My name is Elizabeth Schuler. I live off of Rhodes Road. I have a couple of questions about this, and I apologize. My husband is more knowledgeable on this subject and has come before you all before, and he unfortunately is unreachable and out of town, but I tried my very best. One of the requirements is adequate road access. And when you look at Rocky Vista and Chance Lane, I believe Chance Lane is actually, part of it is just an easement and not an actual road. So I am questioning that, as that was part of the requirement. I would also like to know why the lift station was not able to be placed, as mentioned a minute ago, inside the utility easement, just questioning for my knowledge. And then one of the biggest issues in that area that concerns me with any construction going on is it's very vulnerable to erosion. There have been multiple issues in recent years with the way the water comes off the hillsides around and kind of floods that area. So I know it's not in a flood zone, but I'm just bringing it up because we have shown this organization before how the waters come down. And then our big concern is when you look at what is going to happen, you know, I'm fine with the developer, I guess, building a lift station. But again, I question when you're in a rural area, why aren't we using the septic systems? And, you know, if we're going to build a lift station, then why are we limiting just to this? Thank you for your time. And I apologize. I only found out about this meeting last night. So I'm somewhat requesting either a delayed decision or a no, so some of these topics can be addressed.
Thank you so much for your time. Next, I have Tyndall Effect. If you could please state your first and last name for the record.
Hello, this is Damon Vincent.
Thank you. The floor is yours.
I am property owner on the south property line of the proposed subdivision, and my concern is that the road access is very poor as it is, and that increasing traffic will further deteriorate it. As Beth said, it is highly subject to erosion. As they have built the first house in the proposed subdivision, the trucks carrying in equipment and supplies have caused significant damage to the both roads, Chance Lane Road, and the easement on the south side of the existing property that they are building. And at times I've had to take a shovel to fill in potholes or to knock down the center berm created by the rutting just to get to work. And I don't feel that the road is adequate as it currently exists.
Thank you so much for your time. Next, I have Jacob. Jacob, if you could please state your first and last name for the record.
This is Marika Becken. My phone doesn't have Zoom, so I'm using my son's.
No worries. Could you please say your first and last name one more time?
Marika Becken.
Thank you. The floor is yours.
Okay. I submitted some comments, but I didn't find out about this until 10:45 this morning, even though I'm supposed to be notified of all these meetings. So I have only limited time to have looked at this thing. A number of people have talked about this, but I wanted to raise again the issue as to why the subdivision wouldn't use septic as is used to the area. The presenter mentioned the idea that a sewer would be better, but no reason for that assessment was provided. The only reason as an environmental engineer that I can think of to make that assessment to put in a sewer for just a few parcels is an unstated future intention to further subdivide. I understand Mr. Fry has indicated he has no intention to do this at this time, but given past history, this might be something he would request in the future, since these few parcels really do not require a sewer hookup. A 5-acre parcel is plenty large to site a septic system, so is, for that matter, a half-acre parcel. The proposed lift station may be sized currently for only a few residences, but there's nothing to stop it from being increased in size if an increased density were to be suggested in the future if this Pleasant Valley Estates subdivision were to actually come to pass as a subdivision and not as just a few parcels like it's currently set up for. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Next, I have Lori Smith. Lori, if you could please state your first and last name for the record.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, the floor is yours.
Okay, my name is Lori Smith and I live on Rhodes Road near this proposed development. And my question is, if this lift station does get approved, that it will open the door for Mr. Fry to subdivide and create more homes than what are now supposed to be 8 homes only. There's a farm utility building on one of the lots, and Mr. Fry is building a new big home on one of the other lots. The other 5 lots, there is nothing on them right now, but the 4 that are on the west side of this 40-acre parcel has on the map, it shows where there is a huge swale for water to go through when we do get rains and whatnot. This lift station over there, to me, does not seem like it's anything that is good for the neighborhood, that it's, again, the 5 acres can each have their own septic and well water. I don't know if Mr. Fry would be willing to sign a document, a written stock document, that he will not build any more than just 8 homes on those 8 parcels. Might solve the problem. I don't know. The road getting there, Rhodes Road is not able to handle more traffic, nor Chance Lane. Chance Lane, like Beth Schuler said, is a easement. It's not a road even. So, and it's a private utility easement. The road going through these properties is not a very defined road either. So I don't know, maybe it's best that you folks go out and look at the actual situation and see what it is. There's another person here that from the neighborhood that would also like to make a comment.
Just jump right in
Okay.
now.
Can he jump in now, or when can he speak?
Yes, that's fine. Please have him state his first and last name for the record.
Okay, my name is Rick Blake. I live at 175 Cedar Lane. This will be a little redundant because I've heard some of these same questions, but it's stated that the lift station has been sized for the subdivision. Then it states it is unlikely that other subdivisions would be able to connect. So my question is, how many sewer hookups is the proposed lift station able to support? And how many hookups has Mr. Fry actually proposed to hook up to this lift station? It seems to me like it should be more definitive than unlikely. It says, I just feel that I want to know that there will be no more hookups to this lift station, and that can only be limited to the ones that he's asked for. And we don't even know what that number is. And also, could that lift station's capacity ever be increased without county approval? Could he just add more when he thinks he needs them? I also want to know, kind of like what Lori just said, I was going to ask, I thought maybe a representative for Mr. Fry would be here, or himself, but would he definitively say he or any of his associates will try and increase the amount of parcels he wants to develop from the current 8? It would sure be nice to know his intent, his word to all of us that live out here, what he really plans on doing, and speak to that. And I also kind of have one, this is the last question. Do you feel that there's any conflict of interest for the county to accept this parcel? And is it typical that a developer actually gives some of their parcel to the county? And is that something that is just done normally, or is this atypical? That's all.
Thank you so much for your questions. Next, I have Robert Floyd. Robert, if you could please state your first and last name for the record.
My name is Robert Floyd. I live at 180 Oxyoke Lane, and I'm quite concerned about this whole situation. Thanks, Rob Pierce, for clarifying about the size of the lift station and the fact that it may not be possibly most likely not to be enlarged to accommodate more than the 8-acre parcels. But my biggest concern is that, like Rick just said, that is this a conflict of interest for someone to donate for a lift station to the county? Because this is going to help the county save costs. And the other main concern is that this will provide Harry Fry with sewer access to the adjacent land with this 40 acres. And it's from some of the things we've seen to most of the people in the neighborhood, Harry Fry is untrustworthy and doesn't stay by his word many times, as we've seen in history. And, you know, he's not asking for any zoning changes at this time, but in the future, he very well may do this. And since that lift station will be there, that may give him an ample opportunity to say, okay, well, we're just going to put in another lift station. And this could then lead to him subdividing. And, you know, I don't believe that he's saying that he's not going to ask for approval to subdivide these 40 acres further. Like I said, he's very untrustworthy. And in order to build a greater number of homes, he will have to provide egress if this is able to be subdivided. And one of the issues we have is Chance Lane is unsustainable for more traffic, and Rhodes Road is already basically at capacity. Currently, it is already unsafe and overcrowded and has become a danger to our children, our animals, and our way of life. And Harry Fry doesn't even live on Rhodes Road, and he has no business making it more unsafe for us at this point, just so that he can make more money as a developer. What about another question I have is the road or the bridge crossing Steamboat. That's been out of commission for almost 4 years now. And that's a whole nother issue I have with the county. I pay county taxes. Why hasn't that bridge been fixed? That really irritates me. And I don't think that's fair as well. And if I remember correctly, it seems that he had requested something like this before in the past to subdivide this 40 acres, and it was denied with prejudice in the past. So I just want to make sure that there's no way that he's ever going to ask and get approved to further subdivide this
Thank you,
40-acre
Mr.
lot.
Floyd. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And lastly, I have Jim Wellborn. There you are. If you could please state your first and last name for the record.
Name's Jim Wellborn, and we live on Paddle Wheel Lane. And I want to reiterate on what some of the other speakers have talked about. The applicant has applied in the past to subdivide into 1-acre parcels. That would be close to 39 units on that area. The only reason for a lift station, it is the Trojan horse in this whole project. It's to subdivide. And your answer and your question said he had no intent to subdivide. He's always had an intent to subdivide this property. And he owns other properties in the area that possibly could be connected to this lift station. Our roads can't handle any more traffic than what we've got. Being that the bridge is out, the construction that's going on in our area already with the semis and all the construction has put our end of the road system in a mess. The edges are falling off. We have flood issues all over the valley. And when you take away the natural effect of absorbing the flood water that's already there and you put and develop these parcels, it takes away that, and all the floodwater will come right down that lane into Rhodes Road and flood even worse than it has in the past. There's no reason for a lift station for only one reason, to subdivide further. That's all I had to say.
Thank you for your time. Next, I have Russ James. If you could please state your first and last name for the record.
For the record, Russ James, I am at 300 Rhodes Road, and for most of the reasons already stated, but I would just like to bring up one issue because I think it says that Mr. Fry is going to build the lift station. Correct me if I'm wrong about that, but because the county is then going to assume a liability. Obviously, it's going to be said, they're going to say county specs and all of that, but inspections can be done and shoddy workmanship can occur the whole time when the inspector's not there. And then the county could be accepting a liability and be responsible for repair costs, breakdown, or whatever. I think that's a very questionable way to probably make that work. So, and obviously because the ingress, egress, the access to the property is super questionable. I believe it says someplace in the county code that Chance Lane is only a fire access road for anything else. So not sure that can be actually used for ingress and egress. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. I have no further hands raised for public comment.
Adriana,
Yes.
I know the first public commenter, I believe it was Sonia, said she had other people in the room with her. So I would invite you to ask if there's anyone. I think there was multiple people using one computer. If there's anyone that wants to speak.
Okay, Sonia doesn't have the hand raised. Oh,
Okay.
there it goes. Okay. Okay, so is there, Sonia, if you're available, is there other people with you wishing to make public comment?
Yeah, just to clarify my first comment, I did not have anyone else in the room with me. I just was relating this to the other callers.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Yes,
I appreciate
absolutely.
that.
I would like to go ahead and add to my comment.
Sonia, I'm sorry, you've already had one. Everyone
Okay.
only gets one opportunity to speak per person now. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, Jen, let me check with Lori Smith, since she also has someone else with her. Lori,
Yes,
is there someone else or other members of the public who wanted to make public comment?
Yes, there is one more. It's my husband.
Okay.
505 Rhodes Road. And what I've been hearing is.
If you could please state your first and last name, please.
Name.
Oh, Ed Smith.
Yeah, move closer. Do it again.
Close enough.
Say again your name. Say your name.
Ed Smith.
Thank you so much. The floor is yours.
Yes, from what I've heard from my friends and my wife, I'd say this project should be denied.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Smith.
Thank you.
And then with that, Chair Bronzik, I do have another hand raised. Is it okay if I go ahead and allow them to also add a public comment?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Lastly, I have Amber. If you could please state your first and last name for the record.
My name is Amber Cron, and I am a resident on Rhodes Road and Willamonte Road, which is close to this proposed development. I have very similar questions to everyone else, so I won't go back over those, but I did want to talk about the access as well. I believe there's only two access to Mr. Fry's proposed development, and I think one would have to be designated as an emergency use only and be gated, I believe, but I do have that question. I would request this be denied or at least delayed until we can get these answers as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your input. I have no further hands raised for public comment.
Thank you. We will go ahead and close the public comment portion. Members of the committee, do you have anything you'd like to address or ask of staff? Wayne?
Hi, this is Wayne. I see Janelle's on here. She's one of our engineers who helped review this. Janelle, can you let us know some information on the access for this project?
Yes, the access was via an easement, which was shown on the mapping as it's being proposed to provide the access to this new parcel. And the reason that we actually requested a change to the originally submitted parcel map was that the newly created parcel was going to be within that access easement, which also includes utilities. And that was not going to be an appropriate parcel to be created for a public lift station. Does that answer your question?
Were there road improvement designs as part of the project?
No, there were not. I believe that the only improvements that would be required would be actually access to the lift station once it was constructed. But we would review those upon presentation.
Thank you.
Janelle, I'll piggyback and throw a question out there. Is this kind of an exception that the county accepts these, or is this part of a extended policy?
I don't know all of the, Janelle Thomas for the record, I don't know all of the background regarding the acceptance of the parcel and of the future lift station, but I believe that the intent is to enable as many properties as possible to obtain access to a municipal sewer system rather than constructing individual septic systems in the community. And so I may defer to James English to weigh in on some of that additional insight into how this was originated in its request form.
James English for the record. Health, I can't speak to the previous subdivision. I'm not prepared to do that today. Health specifically reviewed the creation of this new parcel just based on the creation of the parcel and its intended use, and to ensure that it didn't negatively impact the existing parcel, that it was originally a piece of the property. So health specific review was to ensure that the on-site sewage and disposal and the water system for that single family home was not negatively impacted by creating the 480 square foot parcel that Washoe County was going to take ownership of. And because that parcel was so small with the specific intended use, that's why we didn't have any other requirements on the newly created parcel, since we knew it could not be developed for any sort of residence.
Thank you.
This is Wayne Handrock again. Just kind of addressing your question, Chris. A lot of times if there's a lift station for the sewer that's not on county property, it will get dedicated to the county so that it's on county owned property. That's not uncommon. It does happen throughout various places in the county.
Thank you. I do have one additional question for Tim, the planner on the case. Tim, so there's a lot of concerns for further densifying and subdividing of these lots. What is the next step if they wanted to go that route? What are the avenues or paths that they would have to go through to do that? And would those be additional public processes, if any.
Right. So, say for instance, looking at the zoning and things like that, there's a possibility that a regulatory zone amendment could be needed, and that's a public hearing process in itself, multiple public hearing processes, as well as a parcel map, or subdivision map. Either one of those, types of projects would require public hearings themselves, and the applicants, the neighboring property owners would be notified. So there would be additional opportunity for comments, just like this project here, where everyone's had the opportunity to comment on the project. The public would have the opportunity to weigh in, and there would be public hearings for that going to, planning commission, or in the case of like a regulatory zone amendment, planning commission and the board of county commissioners, and so on. So there would be multiple public hearings for those processes to try and do any additional subdividing that the public would be notified about.
Thank you.
This is, oh, sorry, Chris, are you done? I got a question.
Sure, go ahead.
I don't want to interrupt you. If you're on a roll, go for it.
The only other question I had before I let you break in, so what's the next step in the process for, if they wanted to construct the lift station, what's that path forward?
So their path forward for that would be, if this is actually approved or whatnot, would be to start working with engineering on getting all the correct specs and things in order to start constructing that lift station. And I defer to engineering a little bit more on the actual process for actual construction of that lift station. But that would be their next step.
Thank you. I think you answered it without having to go to engineering to provide additional nitty-gritty. Rob?
Yeah, so my question is for Janelle. Janelle, can you speak on this lift station? 480 feet, square feet doesn't sound like very much land. So obviously it's designed for 5-acre parcels, but there's been a lot of comment about possibly subdividing and making it smaller down the road, of course, with approvals and all that. What would it take for for that lift station to accommodate that? Would it have to be torn down and rebuilt? Is that built into it to add on as a simple process? Could you speak on it to the best of your ability, please?
Yes, Janelle Thomas for the record. I do not have the expertise on the utility side, but I can tell you that our utility staff have been working closely with the applicant in order to determine the most appropriate size of the parcel to support the system that is being proposed. If at a later date, as you said, it is proposed to be expanded, then additional considerations would need to be taken into mind at that point. And then if there was additional land required to provide that expansion in conformance with our design standards for lift stations, that would have to be addressed at that time. But my understanding is that the utility staff that has been working closely with the applicant required the appropriate analyses to be provided to them in order for them to make the appropriate request for the parcel.
Okay. Mr. English, do you know anything about this? Could you speak on that? Coming from health, do you have any insight?
I can't speak to that at this point in time, but what I can speak to is that the building plans that would have to be submitted by the applicant and approved by Washington County Engineering would also at some point be reviewed by the health district and approved for the sizing and the setbacks on the parcel.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Does any committee members have any additional comments or questions? If not, I'd welcome a motion. So
Sorry, this is Wayne Handrock. One of the things about this map, the 8 parcels have been, my understanding is, approved. And if we don't approve this lift station, it would mean a lot of redesign work going as far as what they have to do for alternate septic alternatives. It's been engineered, my understanding is, for this lift station. So it would throw a big monkey wrench into the 8 parcels that have already been approved and created, and have been working with the engineering department on. That was it.
thank you. You know, I get the concerns of the public, but what's specifically being asked for is a small parcel for utilities for the additional lots. So I personally am in favor of this, and I'm okay with making a motion for approval. So I move that after giving reasoned consideration to the information contained within the staff report and the information received during the public meeting, that the Washoe County Parcel Map Review Committee approve parcel map case number WTPM 23-0015 for Harry Fry, subject to the conditions of approval included as Exhibit A within the staff report, and make the determination that the required criteria is or will be adequately provided pursuant to Washoe County Code Section 110-606-75.
James English, second that.
So we've got me as the initial motion, James is the second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. Sounds like that passes unanimously. Before we move to the next item, Jen, would this be appropriate to read the appeal procedure once more?
Yes, you can read the procedure if you'd like.
So I'll just read the appeal procedure once more. So most decisions rendered by the Parcel Map Review Committee are appealable to the Board of County Commissioners. If you do disagree with the decision of the Parcel Map Review Committee and you want to appeal its action, you may do so in writing within 10 calendar days from the date that the decision being appealed is reduced to writing, filed with the Secretary of the Parcel Map Review Committee, and mailed to the original applicant in the proceeding being appealed in accordance with Washoe County Code. Please call planning staff immediately at 328-3600 for information on the appeal procedure and the application fee. So with that, I'll close the public items and we will move to agenda item 8, which is for reports and future agenda items. Does anybody have any future agenda items for the committee? Seeing none. Ms. Gustafson, do we have any legal information and updates?
Nothing from me today. Thank you.
Thank you. Agenda item 9, Madam Secretary, do we have any additional public comment?
There are no hands raised for public comment.
So we'll go ahead and close the public comment aspect. And with that, we're at agenda item 10, which is adjournment. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.